Hello, my name is Melissa Daniels and I have strabismus. Strabismus is when your eyes are not pointing in the same direction. Today we are going to talk about one of the most common approaches for fixing strabismus, and that is strabismus surgery. I'm going to kind of answer the question about how and when strabismus surgery can help. Before jumping into that, be sure to go over to learn.strabismussolutions.com, and over there you can take the quiz that can kind of help guide you towards the solutions that are going to make sense for your specific diagnosis. You can also join our community, take one of my courses, or sign up for a Zoom call with me. So there's a lot over there. Be sure to check it out. Okay, let's dive into whether or not strabismus can be corrected with strabismus surgery. Now, this is totally a loaded question because everyone's version of corrected is totally different. So I'm going to talk about a few different ways that some people might consider it to be corrected. So I think the most obvious thing that people are having strabismus surgery for is that they want their eyes to look straight. They want better alignment. Now, the way that strabismus surgery success is determined by ophthalmologists is they look at whether or not they can get the eyes within 10 to 15 diopters of being aligned. And so perfect alignment isn't necessarily the goal. So for example, if you look at my eyes, I'm going to get close to the camera so you can really see. And I have no idea what they're doing right now. But if I look in the distance, I believe I have like 6 to 8 diopters of esotropia. And in this eye, so watch this eye. I don't know if it's even doing it or not. I'm guessing it is. And it also goes up. So I've got what we call hypertropia and esotropia. And so right now, if you're looking at me, yeah, you might not notice. If you're really analyzing this video and pausing and zooming in, you can probably tell. But when I walk down the street and I talk to people, nobody notices my eye turn. Okay, so the hyper is, I think, 4 diopters. And when I'm looking near, it all changes. But usually I'm less than 10 diopters as a maximum of esotropia. And it's not very noticeable. But sometimes that 10 can be kind of noticeable. So this is like a amazing success as far as the strabismus surgeon is concerned, right? I don't have perfect alignment, but cosmetically, eyes are looking pretty good. So when you look at that as your success rate, strabismus surgery has a 70 to 80% success rate, depending on a lot of different factors, how old you are, how long you've had strabismus, so many different things. But that's in general, that's the success rate. And that means they got your eyes pretty close and that you're able to maintain that for, I think, like a year. And so can strabismus be corrected with surgery? If your version of corrected is getting your eyes closer to looking aligned, definitely yes. Pretty high success rate, honestly. A lot of times it's not perfect, or maybe your eye was like really, really misaligned. You know, it was like clear in and you're able to get it to here. Like that is so much more manageable, right? As far as the cosmetic appearance of your eyes. So in that way, yeah, it can definitely help. It's not always a long-term solution, but for some people it is. So I think if cosmetic alignment is your problem, that's like your main focus, you're not having any like functional problems with your vision, surgery is a pretty viable option. A lot of people also have functional problems going on with their vision in addition to the cosmetic, right? You have like a combo of the two. Like for me, I couldn't drive at night. Some people have really bad double vision. There's other things that, you know, the depth perception issues. There's a lot of things that can go into this strabismus and why people would want it corrected. And so I want to also talk about some of the other issues with strabismus that maybe aren't going to, I don't know, be as easy to correct with strabismus surgery. So one would be like depth perception and stereopsis, right? So when the eyes both work together, they fuse those images together and your brain makes sense of those two images and you see with stereopsis, and you've got this good fusion, and that keeps your eyes coordinating together. With strabismus surgery, stereopsis is only results, they say 10 to 30% of the time, which isn't great. And I would say like 90% of those are for really young children and babies when they do that surgery right away and the brain is still in that like developing zone of developing stereopsis, and then they can kind of spontaneously develop that. But my surgeon told me that for adults, Like he's done thousands of surgeries and like 2 people ever has that happened for. So if your problem is that you're wanting that stereopsis and that depth perception, surgery alone is not going to give you that result, if that makes sense. That it's not going to correct stereopsis. It can get you closer, maybe make vision therapy easier, make it so that you're within the range like that a prism could help, but it's not going to just spontaneously give you stereopsis most of the time. Another thing that people really struggle with is double vision. If double vision is what you're hoping to correct with strabismus surgery, it's going to depend on how long you've had the double vision, and if you always have double vision, or if it's maybe only in certain gazes, or sometimes maybe it's intermittent. So sometimes your eye goes out, you see double, you bring it in, you see single. Those ones where it's intermittent and you can see single, just not all the time, seem to have a lot more success with correcting the double vision with surgery than people who have double vision constantly. It still can help with the double vision, even if it's constant, but you don't know for sure. One great way that they are able to test for this is using prism, and they'll do a prism test and they'll give you the prism and see if you're able to align once you're wearing the prism in your glasses. And this kind of helps the surgeon know if your brain is going to accept that new eye position and use the eyes together. So if you're having double vision, that's a really great thing that you can do to kind of see if it's going to help. But they say that the correction for double vision is like 70 to 90%. Again, that depends so much on age. So if it's a really young kid versus somebody who's had constant double vision or intermittent, like I would say that the range is probably like 40 to 90%, right? Like there's a huge range because there's so many different factors that go into it. But yes, strabismus surgery can correct double vision. I would definitely opt for using prism and trying that out to see if that can correct it before jumping into surgery. It's interesting, you know, an intermittent eye turn is also much easier to correct with vision therapy. Like intermittent eye turns are just easier to correct. So that is kind of across the board, whether it's surgery, vision therapy, prisms, glasses with prism, like there's a lot more options if it's an intermittent eye turn. Surgery can be super scary because they're cutting into the muscles of your eye. So personally, I wanted to opt for the more conservative approach first. I tried vision therapy. I ended up needing to combine it with surgery. It was super perfect combination for me. I feel like I got my eyes functionally so much better and cosmetically so much better, which I am delighted with. I think a lot of people have had success there. Some people do the vision therapy and they don't ever need surgery. Some people do the surgery and they don't ever need vision therapy, right? Like there's a lot of diversity in what's going on with the strabismus surgery. But in general, to answer the main question, can strabismus surgery correct strabismus? Kind of. Can sure make your eyes look a lot better, but giving perfect alignment, perfect stereo, that's not really as likely to happen. So you have to just adjust your expectations and decide what is it that you're trying to get. Are you trying to get stereo? Are you trying to get improved depth perception? Are you trying to get perfect alignment? Or do you just want your eye turn to not be so obvious? And depending on what you're going for, it can be a great solution and can definitely correct the problem that you are having with your eye turn. If you have questions, you can leave them in the comments, or you can go over to strabismussolutions.com and send me a note there. If you have questions you'd like me to answer in a video, you can put them below, and I will be doing another video series this summer with a Q&A where I answer your questions in video form. So if you have questions like that, be sure to leave them in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.